This is New Eden FM, presented by the Data Break Network. This is New Eden, an anomaly even within the Data Break Network. Ever since the dawn of aviation, mankind has looked to the skies with hopeful expectation of conquering the stars. Beyond the remnants of the shattered gate, a universe of impossible splendor lies among an endless sea of stars. These are the sounds of the cosmos, the sounds that echo throughout every corner of the universe. This is New Eden FM.
Hello, my friends, and happy holidays to all. Welcome to New Eden FM, the radio show, your weekly update on all things even. Of course, we bring you tunes. DJ Von Bell behind the ones and twos with some festive music to get you in the right mood. This, of course, is Maestra, one of three hosts, and of course, I am only one of three hosts. Isn't that right? We have Latara Tassador, and how's it going today, buddy? Happy holidays.
Uh, it's the holidays.
Is
What?
it? I don't know. I mean, we bring people the gift of ships being blown up, all the same all year round. So it doesn't really feel all that much different, at least to me. But I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. I've just been having a blast, quite literally today. Just shooting structures, people, anything that
Okay.
looks at me funny. BKG station wouldn't die, but I won't stop trying.
I think that might you might have a few problems with killing that station, but I mean, if it suits you, then go for it. Why not? I see no reason not to at least try, right? And of course, she is everywhere and everyone. Of course, we all know that we must be an Alondria Holt, but we have the genuine article here for us on today's episode. How's it going, baby girl?
It's going good, and yeah, I am here, and I am also listening at home, and I am listening over there, and I'm listening over there too. So yeah,
Jeez.
we're lots of us are listening this morning, so it's really great.
Well, it's good that we have so many of you listening today because it is going to be one hell of an episode. On today's episode of New Eden FM, in New Eden, bringing you a new set of PvE content and some wintry gifts. And how's the server war shaping up? All that and more on today's episode of New Eden FM.
All things Eve echoes and Eve online. New Eden News.
Welcome to New Eden News. We have a lot of big things to cover today, and
No kidding.
that kind of leads us into the patch notes, doesn't it? Because we have assault carriers.
The faction carriers, I feel like they could have left the faction part out for the time being because they're if you listen they're calling these what motherships.
Kind of, and you know they
It's
have
weird.
lightweight frigates and lightweight destroyers that they actually are able to deploy, kind of like the way carriers deploy the light fighters. So um,
Yeah.
they're actually frigates and destroyers, and your skills are actually utilized for these things.
So wait. So you're saying that the skills for this. I'm pretty sure that there are skills specifically for those particular fighters. Are you talking about the ones that like the
No,
pilots can get, or what? 'Cause
no, the pilot's skill and frigate and the pilot's skill and destroyer
oh, they
affect
actually
the.
work with the carriers?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
reason I have destroyer skill.
yeah, suddenly there is a reason to have destroyer skills and a reason to have frigate skills as a carrier pilot. If you're going to buy one of these faction carriers and going to use those new um, new lightweight frigates and lightweight destroyers. Those are just like fighters. They're basically fighters, but they're a lot bigger. They look like frigates and they look like destroyers. It looks like you're launching a
And,
swarm.
you know,
It feels more like a carrier, I think. It really does.
that's actually really cool. And you know, the thing is, they call them motherships, but it's kind of the way that it works in EVE Online, right? So if you think about, like, say for example, a super carrier in EVE Online is basically a carrier that can deploy heavy fighters, and the heavy fighters are designed to specifically target capital ships. So you have light fighters, which are good for basically subcaps, heavy fighters, which are really good for fighting other capital ships. And so I'm wondering how good these, I mean, they're going to get shredded by a dreadnought pilot. Even in the patch notes, if I read it correctly, they were saying, well, it's going to get shredded if against, it's not going to go toe to toe with a dreadnought. Not, no, but,
Well,
I mean, this could probably do pretty good damage against the dread, I'm thinking.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, think about it like this. In the real world, would you ever take an aircraft carrier and put it toe to toe with a battleship,
Of course
like an
not.
Iowa class battleship?
I
No,
mean,
you absolutely wouldn't. But would you take a carrier group and pit it against a battleship?
um,
Of course you would, because
well,
all these support craft would support the carrier, and so that's the battleship isn't as big of a threat because everything is spread out and there's a lot more DPS, so to speak. Uh, so it's one of those things that if you compare something toe to toe, it's hard to compare things in different
well,
classes.
you have to
They,
remember during the age of during the between 1935 and 1945, we actually saw the age of the battleship come to a close. And how do I know that? Well, because both Bismarck and Tirpitz are at the bottom of the ocean, as are both of the Yamato class ships, including Yamato and, of course, the Masaki. And guess what they were sunk by? Aircraft. They were sunk by aircraft bombardment. The thing about it is you still need battleships to escort carriers, and so
555 what or 554? What skill level is it that it
I
drops
think
it down to?
554 or 552, 553.
wait, hold on. You mean to
It's the
tell me
same jump rate.
it will cost you 2 carriers if your skills suck?
Yes.
Basically,
Yes.
Please continue.
So, yeah, basically, one of the components is a carrier or two if your skills suck. Raise them skills before you have to spend another carrier. Good pro tip there, people. Pro tip. All right. That would be a pro tip.
God.
All right, but let's see. Let's go over what carriers they'd have here. Okay, we have there are 4 different faction carriers. We have the Anaconda, which is the greased faction carrier. It has extra protection. Okay, Visago.
going to be using these for ratting. That's probably going to be their choice because of the faster warping. Realistically, the Anaconda, Villain, and Party are the more, I'd say, geared towards PvP. The Anaconda is an absolute brick. It has the same sort of shield boat resistance bonuses as the Chimera, but it has much more base tank, so realistically...
Nobody even thought about the fact that those fighters may web you. If the fighters web you and kill you, that's horrifying.
Yeah, well, I mean, in a manner of speaking, ER drones are a thing, right? I mean, if you have the implant, so... but, I mean, these are actually really interesting, and the thing about it is, normally, I don't really like some of the changes that, that the Well, I know that they are trying to put their spin on things, and I don't always agree with every change, but I do think that this one was, this was not bad. It was very creative. It was very interesting. They actually looked at the game meta because if you think about it, carriers. I mean, we're not even dropping carriers. We haven't even dropped carriers during this, during this war. And during the last war, we had a very kind of an unpleasant experience when we dropped our caps on grid. All of our dreads survived. Our carriers, all three of them, got killed. And so I think that carriers really are like the baseline carriers are in kind of a bad spot in the game, for lack of a better word. And I feel like these versatile assault chips might be a little bit more suited for people who actually want to use them for PvP, such as myself. I would want these type of ships in a fleet. Many of you probably already know that I'm not really huge on ratting. I don't really like to come online and rat. And so it's kind of like it's kind of just what can it do for me on the battlefield? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean these
the-
versatile attack ships are about double the base EHP as well of a regular carrier.
Yeah, but here's the thing: it's a matter of what you're using them for. If you're going toe to toe big fleet combat with carriers and dreads, your carriers are going to die. But if you're using carriers in other ways, like Silent has this pair that are going around the south, just absolutely terrorizing it. They even made a meme about this. Hetch and Dex, I think it was, that they're using carriers.
Those guys,
and yeah, they're going
those guys deserve some props for the craziness they're pulling off down there.
Yeah, and that's somebody using carriers in PvP highly effectively.
Yeah.
And they're going places where they're not expecting to face dreadnoughts, but they're getting their PvP and they're getting a lot of it. They're getting some other carrier kills. They're PvP fit carriers finding ratting fit carriers. I mean, it's almost the same thing of people finding ratting tanked out battleships and using PvP fit battleships to kill them because PvP fit beats PvE fit every time. They say that the iterative AI algorithm may amplify the original manufacturing features or errors of carriers during the process of reverse engineering the scan data, resulting in unpredictable design outcomes. So basically, when reverse engineering one module blueprint, the capsuleer might obtain one of the module blueprints due to different outcomes. This technology will be used for the first time for reverse engineering the experimental carrier hangar modification system. Capsuleers have a chance of obtaining one of the 6 variant blueprints after they start reverse engineering. So I'm not really sure exactly what they mean by that. I'd be interested if we've got any people who have actually gotten into already the reverse engineering, if they've run into that, what they've actually got. They've notorious on low on details on that.
I mean, I don't know. I've been busy.
No, the Yule Festival, the Yule Festival Light of the Ember Sea has started. Yeah, that's running from December 14th to January 14th.
So, for our people that are more invested in PvE than this war, what can they expect when they do that event?
Well, basically, you're going to be doing a same type of event as the Halloween event. You've got 3 people that you're talking to. Occasionally, you're going to get a cutscene with them with some story attached to it. Otherwise, you're going to be running missions for them. Either a transport mission where you're going to go pick something up for them and carry it to somewhere else, and otherwise, you're going to be doing combat missions where they tell you to go to the system, kill everything there. So those are the 2 types of missions that you actually do. Now, there's 2 settings. There's the advanced and then there's the masters. On the master one, you get better stuff. The fights are really good. There's probably 15, 16 million ISK on grid in ticks, and you get 4 million for actual completion of the combat. And you can find the nanocore research things in the boxes there. And additionally, occasionally you get one of those event items for the golden event, where you're having to assemble those 3 items. You're getting one in the mail every day in that little envelope, but you can earn more of them through this event as well. And each one that you do, you get 2 points and 1 point for a cutscene. And once you get 25 points, you get 30,000 skill points. Once you get 50 points, you get 5 of those gold things for your implant that give 2,000 XP. Get 5 of them, so 10,000 XP for your imp. That's worth doing as well. Then at 75, you get 350 IP, so a little extra into your pool there for that. And then at 100, you get a nice little medal commemorate having completed the event. So you do get a little bit of goodies there. You get some things for actually going through and doing these different encounters and things, and it's fairly easy to do, as long as you're not doing it carelessly. I actually tried it with a Cinnable on the Master. The 5th wave is a little bit tricky whenever you're doing that, because those newts hurt. They do newt you. So I do recommend T10 Battleship if you're going to do it on Master. If you're going to do it on Advanced, if you got something like a Cinnable or even a T9 Battleship or something else that you're doing okay with. I think it requires a Tech 8 battlecruiser or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was on that one, but it's a lesser requirement. It's much easier for you to accomplish the combat on that one. So it kind of ties into the whole assault ships and everything like that, where we're talking about the Ember and all that. So it's really a really cool event, the Ember Sea. So
Interesting, right?
Oh, it is definitely interesting. I actually have only read part of it, so half of it is going to be something I read. The other half is going to be something that's going to be a surprise to both of us.
Oh crap! Here we
So
go. Remember what happened?
Oh yeah.
I did that one time, and after I got caught off guard with some industrial penetration, I never did it again. So I'm just warning you before you go off that ledge. Okay, go.
I know. I figure we'll do a mixed bag today. I'll read half of it, the other half will be a surprise. That way we get the best of both worlds,
All right? Cool. All right. What's up?
All right. Okay. The first one is: are there any plans to add more NPC factions? Also, what's up with the inaccessible space towards the east of New Eden? Jovian space? Their answer is yes. More NPC factions are planned.
Why? No, please keep reading. I will wait until you're done.
That's it. That is their answer. That's their answer.
Okay, so hold on. I want you guys just for a moment, take a minute, think about this. What have they done with the Yang Zhang faction since it's been in the game for like 2.5 years?
That's where that's going, actually. That's apparently, I'm betting, where the Zhang Yang are going to be. I'd be willing to bet ISK on that.
Bruh, like
I'd be willing to bet that they are going to be releasing basically what is the Dronelands in EO, but it's going to be Yang Yang. And I'm betting that all this event and the storyline and everything like that is kind of leading up to that. I'm betting it.
Bruh, I'm telling you, it's funny. That is just funny. I don't even, because like they have done absolute, and the thing is the way that the question was phrased, right? These people are like, are we going to get a new faction? And so they're saying yes to a new faction, but like the faction that's already in the game, Zhang Yang is already in the game. It has been in the game. They have been in the game since the game launched in 2020.
We haven't actually got them, because there's, other than whenever you start and you get those little free ships, you don't have access to any of their technology. So they're in the game and yet not in the game. So they're kind of quasi in the game.
That's the messed up part. Meanwhile, people are asking like about new factions. Dude, it's more like ask them to do something with the factions we currently have in the game.
Oh, I know.
Populating the null sec space that we already have, because like I'm not trying to be be negative about it, but I mean I actually flew through silent space, and of course we're at war. We'll get to that part during the state of the war slash Eve talk, but I flew through through silent space, and there are even discounting what the war has done, there was a lot of unoccupied space around silent space. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing in the south, right? If you are going between, like, for example, burst space and or you go next door and you have AOA, of course, and ZRQ, and then you get into this dead zone. You know what I mean? And that was even when RA was still alive. So that kind of it bugs me a little bit, because you don't go flying through space in EO and expect that you're gonna take like 4 or 5 jumps and you're not gonna run into anybody. You're gonna run into somebody. Like almost all the space in nullsec is occupied by someone.
Yeah.
They're doing some very interesting things, and I believe that that's good. But I believe where the mistakes are kind of coming in is that they're not really. It's like, for example, have you noticed the trend of the latest content and what it actually is? It's like more capital ships that are even more expensive than the last capital ship, and I think that that's a problem. Like you're not really seeing any of. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm horrified at the thought of them bringing strategic cruisers or tactical destroyers into this game in the current state of the game. I really am horrified. But if they did, it would demonstrate that they are trying and they're looking at other ship classes rather than just the biggest, baddest ship that they can drop. And every single time they release a new ship, it just gets more and more and more expensive. They released the Rorqual, and of course the Rorqual is like a super capital for industry, so it was no surprise to me that ship was so expensive. But now you get the Fax, and the Fax is it's not as expensive as a Rorqual all the time, but it's getting very, very close, right? So how big do you think the kill mail on the first assault carrier is going to be? Because I'm thinking somewhere between 350 to 400 bell. And that's stripped down.
Probably in that neighborhood.
Probably. Wait, actually, yeah, somewhere in. It's gonna be in the billions. It won't be in the trillions yet. Trillions is gonna be what happens when the first Titan gets killed. That's gonna be That's gonna be a trillion. But I'm thinking when the very first assault carrier dies, I'm wagering on 350 to 400 billion is down the drain. You cannot drag anyone from beyond 150 kilometers away from a gate. So those really long drags that used to exist, where you could drag someone like 1,000 kilometers off of a gate, you can't do it anymore as of last week. It was kind of a ghost fix. They didn't even put it in the patch notes. We found that out because, of course, we're at war right now, right? So
yeah.
Yep. They've been ghost fixed.
I'd say that points to the argument I've made in several places that those trap bosses, they were not functioning as intended.
And not really. I mean, people were just exploiting them like they exploit a lot of stuff, and you can't really blame them, right? I mean, this is Eve, and if number one, exploiting a bug or exploiting something that doesn't really work the way it's supposed to is not a bannable offense. To be truthful, it's not a bannable offense.
All it's doing is understanding the mechanics of the universe that we live in and planning accordingly.
You can't be mad at them for doing that. We have the State of the War, which is probably going to be a combination of State of the War and Eve Talk. In the mix right now.
Your music, your voice, and your weekly update on all things Eve. This is your Eve Echo State of the War Report.
Welcome everyone to the Eve Echo State of the War Report, and oh man, what a report that we have for you on today. So before I say anything at all, has anyone actually seen a map of the North lately? I'm gonna pause there for a moment. Okay, cool. So for those of you that aren't logged into the game, I'm going to just inform you of these things. So it's been about 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more time than that, since the siege on SHH, the Great Server War, has begun. And if you check out Tenno, you'll find that Tenno has, well, I'm not going to say that it's completely fallen, because it hasn't totally fallen. There are still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places, 8 places within Tenno that are still under SHH control. Maybe maybe one more, 2 more, and Tenno was completely ripped a new one between last week and this week. We came in, we contested SHH for them, and it was a series of very interesting battles that we had during that, in which case I actually got 2 kills in a Guardian, which that's the best way to remember that, right? Who gets kills in a Guardian, nonetheless. So we have been fighting over Tenno, and we have a good portion of Tenno in our pocket at the moment. There's also been many battles over Fade as well. Now, the interesting story about what has happened on last week, however, some of the greatest turning points of this war, SHH on last Friday dropped capital ships on us. Either it was Friday or it was Thursday, but I think it was Thursday. They dropped capital ships on us. The battle at what? Hold on. Let me pull it up for you. Because somehow I don't know how I survived that one. But Friday night they did drop caps on us, and they just about wiped our fleet. Now I think Logi might have escaped, but that was pretty much it. It was a complete. It was interesting because we weren't expecting that. What was an interesting tactic, however, is that they dropped caps on us to defend a tier 1 citadel, which is the thing that I think a lot of people are talking about. They dropped to defend a tier 1 citadel, but they didn't drop on us when we were taking tier 3 and 2 citadels, which is the head scratch moment. And of course, everything is in due time and with due tactics, but they dropped it on us. So at the moment, you'll notice that if you go into Declan is no longer completely united. Why? Because Orc has control of eFICO, which is one of their popular systems. And Alondria, I mean, I know that you haven't had a whole lot of time to play this war, but what are your thoughts on this? I've spent more time on the battlefield. It's been some great fights, and I've noticed that, now that SHH is actually committing to dropping capital ships, it may be an interesting turning point for them, because prior to this, they were not dropping capitals. They were continuing to send subcap ships against us. They were throwing scepters at us, and eventually the scepters stopped coming, and eventually they stopped dictating us every single step of the way. And this is, getting away from what Chonks is doing, because Chonks is doing their thing. They're third-partying the war. They're having their fun. They're doing little things like when fleets go up, they will, or when someone exits up for a fleet, they will try to invite that person to fleet so that they can warp them into a dead space and kill them. How do I know? Because I fell victim to that when Oz told me to X up in local. I got burned that way. I insist, if you are not, or if you are a part of the Allied Coalition or the Crab Co, do not do that, because it's a really good way to get yourself killed. But Alondria, what are your thoughts? Because this is getting insane. Let's put it that way. It's insane, and I think going into it, a lot of people didn't expect, this kind of resistance from SHH, given what they were coming up against.
Well, yeah, I guess they weren't expecting it because they were expecting it to be like the other empires that they faced. SHH is a little bit different.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more militaristic, a little bit more control, and they've been there for longer, so they've had time to dig in like ticks. Um, as far as why I have to say that it puzzles me why they let so many level 3 citadels go, but it was a level 1 citadel that they actually chose
Yeah.
to deploy caps. The only thing I can think of is maybe that particular system is strategically important to them.
Possibly.
That might be the only thing,
It is a
or they just
possibility.
really don't want to upset the bot 5 people by letting them lose a citadel.
I mean,
Those bot 5 people have been the bot 5 people have been actually doing more offense of from Silent than many other groups. They've been going down and I believe those carrier pilots are actually bot 5 pilots.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so I mean they are a serious PvP wing of SH8. So if they were going to draw a line in the sand, keeping those guys happy, I guess would probably be really key for the war effort. That might have been its strategic importance.
From a tactical standpoint, I couldn't agree more. I mean, when you're talking about your PvPers, your really super serious hardcore PvPers, that is something you don't really want to. You don't want to piss off. Those guys that are actually the ones that are fighting on the front line, because SHH is on offense. Make absolutely no mistake about it. In fact, current statistics for this war, as I tab out on my fancy iPad. I'm joking. Um, so, according to the live war update, which, by the way, guys, are the value of the citadels that are being in toasted, we're talking raw damage, guys. Citadels that have been destroyed. So on the side of SHH, they have captured officially 19 capsular outposts. 2 corporation citadels have been destroyed, and 1 has been captured. Attack 2. On the other side of things, with the Crab Company, 79 capsular outposts have been destroyed. 2 corporation citadels, level 1, has been destroyed. 20 corporation citadels, Tech 2, have been captured. 11 corporation citadels, Tech 3, have been captured. So
That's a lot.
that's a lot of citadels. And I mean, when you
Yeah.
look at the grand total currently of damage in this war, you are looking at a total of about 7.7 trillion ISK has been killed, and this war has been going on for about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Dude, Silent are no slouches, and I said this on, I believe, the show that we had 2 weeks ago, and I will say it here. Those of us that have a half a brain know that Mr. Pay to Win is a reasonable threat. Those of us that have the whole thing know how big of a threat Pay to Win really is, and of course, he and Michael JD did come back for this battle. Mattarella, who is now a Red Sea pilot, but has traditionally been an SHH pilot, has been leading a lot of fleets in his Nightmare, and I should know because there are 3 Mattarella Nightmare kill mails up there on the wall, but also up there on the wall is Meliodas' Nightmare, which got popped on last Thursday night. I believe Dragon Viper, who was fighting with us, of course, many of the Pew pilots and other the people that used to be know, they have been fighting along with us. And it's not like all SHH losing stuff. They got us a few times, and they have been, SHH has been doing wonderfully in this war, given the odds. And we talked about those odds on last week when we looked at who is actually in SHH, the number of corporations that they have confirmed on their side versus the number of Crab Company corporations. And, it's a sizable difference between how many the Crab Company have versus how much SHH does, in fact, have. So, I mean, I have nothing but respect to SHH for being able to put up this kind of a fight. I don't think that any of us were expecting them to put up that kind of a fight. At least most of us weren't expecting it. But I said 2 weeks ago, do not count out SHH. I think that it's going to be a pretty good war. And who knows? It's like Bradrick is always saying on Reddit, strap in for a very long war.
Yeah, the statistics. You look at the capital ships destroyed. You can really see Hetch and Dex with those 14 carriers. They've been using carrier on carrier PvP like
My
we were
goodness.
discussing they're doing, and you can see that Silent has killed 14 carriers.
14
That's a
carriers.
lot of carriers
Well, I
to
mean,
have died.
and you know what? I gotta, as sad as it is to say, a few of those are bird carriers because they lost it to that dual boxer, in SHH that likes to drop PvP carriers on PvE carriers. So they got they got popped. And according to what Tofanofo just said, yeah, Bot 5 took M Tech O 33, and so that's 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 significant. So for those of you guys that want the full stats, yes, it's 14 carriers from SHH. They've also killed 4 dreadnoughts, and on our side, the Crab Company has only killed 5 carriers and 2 dreadnoughts. To me, that is a, it is a, it is. I think that it's attributed to discipline, right? Our pilots in Burr understand because we've said this to them. Don't expect a home defense if you get or if you get tackled in a capital ship. Do not expect someone to come in and save you because we're all forward deployed. And so Burr has that kind of discipline. The thing is, SHH typically have exhibited that kind of discipline for a very long time. I mean, think about it. They've been exhibiting this kind of discipline, and so we don't really have SHH losing that many capitals because you're not finding that many capitals out ratting anymore. But they are dropping them in PvP. So
Yeah,
and so I look at those groups and I go, well, yeah, they are very it's not, it's not going to be that simple. And when we're poking fun at these FCs, I'm like, yeah, maybe, but I mean, but at the same time, they give us hell on grid. So, so remember that, remember who you're fighting, and it's very important to remember who we're fighting. And we have an SHH member from GRA who says, please add that Yoda's the reasons you see his scepter fleets being one of the biggest in the game, and that's important too. Keeping a cool head and just having and just having fun. And Jacoba, he typically has the same demeanor when he's leading the scepter fleets. He can be a little bit more a little bit more tense when he's leading like a 50-person heavy fleet. But then again, when you're leading that kind of fleet, it kind of, there's an added level of stress, right? Because there's always that
yeah,
chance that someone is going to get left behind on a gate. There's always the chance that you're not aligning quick enough, or that the enemy is going to drop a dictor bubble right as you're pressing go. There little things like that can happen, and there is a small amount of added stress when you're talking about leading a fleet of battleships and battle cruisers, just the way that it is. But scepter fleets, they can be a little bit more relaxed, and if Yoda can leverage that, then I think that that's more to his credit, because he never has to worry about getting numbers when he pings for his scepter fleets. So that in itself, I look at that as being, if you're an FC and when you ping, people will come. That's it. That's what makes a good FC right there.
yeah,
If you ping and
yeah,
people will show up, you're a good FC.
yeah, and people show up because like they're saying his demeanor is good. I mean, I've used to be in Silent at one point. I've flown in fleets with him. It's fun, and that's the important thing. Where you find an FC that is fun to fly under, that their fleets, they're just, you enjoy the experience. That's why when they ping, people show up because they remember that. I was like, last fleet I was with them, I had so much fun. I want to do it again. Oh, they pinged. Oh, I'm jumping on that.
Like
That's what happened.
one of my favorite FCs in the game is Stony Slots because obviously I work with Stony for most of my FC career, especially when we were Pantheon. Then I worked with Stony again for a time when we were in Genesis Federation and GenFed, and TSC was working in tandem, and we were fighting Silent. And the thing that I loved about Stony's style, and I still do, is that they are they are very much monotone. The one time I ever heard Stony raise their voice was during the Battle of Zid, when like all the FCs started talking and everyone was talking all over each other. They basically said, "Everybody shut the fuck up." And that was the first time and the only time I ever heard Stony yell. But I learned so much from flying under them, and I never have any like if Stody pings a fleet, I'm there because they are so good at being super chill, at being in control, but at the same time, if the fleet is wiping, okay, guys, calm down. All right, all right, all right, all right. We're gonna burn out. We're gonna burn out Starburst. You know what I mean? And and so when I'm leading a fleet, I do the same thing because I do the same thing because I learned it from them. Because my earlier fleets, I flew under Stony a lot. And then during a lot of these battles, when it was just a few FCs, I was there backing Stony in the fleets. And like, that is the ideal FC, right? Gets the shit done, but at the end of the day, is so chill, so chill.
Exactly.
And if Yoda is itty in any way like that, I think that it's great. I flew with Tahini during the Void War, and Tahini was so chill. Holy cow, the guy was so chill. You'd swear
Yeah.
that he was high all the time, and and he's another FC that I actually enjoyed flying with. You know what I mean? Because he was so chill. And like, oh, he is high all the time. Okay. Silver Fire Dog. But I had fun flying with Tahini, and that was my first experience getting to fly with Tahini. And I'm like, I'm gonna join Tahini's fleet and see what the guy is all about because I've heard good things about him. And so getting
Yep.
excitable. Calm down, take a drink. I don't know what you have to do, but just chill a little bit. Because, when
Yeah.
he's leading his fleets, he can be a little bit high strung, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so, but everyone is different. Everyone is different. I learned
Yeah.
to be chill when I'm like leading fleets. I learned to be chill because my first experience learning how to FC was with people like Stony, right? And even though J
Yeah.
Factor, people have, love hate relationship with J Factor, he was pretty chill when he was like leading his fleets. He might complain after he got out, but he was pretty chill when he was leading his fleets. So,
Yeah.
I was around FCs who knew how to maintain composure a lot. They knew how to
Yeah.
maintain composure, and that's the most important thing. I think that when pilots listen to you and they hear that you're shaken by something, they are immediately shaken by it. But if they hear their FC and their FC is like completely calm, even when shit hits the fan, they seem to be more calm and they react better to commands than if you're just like frantically shouting at them.
Yeah. Yeah, and the SCs that have a lot of energy to them too. I mean, Tahini has the way he calls shots. There's a certain energy to it. It's fun. The way it flows and the things that he says. It's fun. And like Immortal Rage is the same way. Uh, Casper, that's another one. There's all over New Eden are these really cool FCs, and I think that's important for any successful alliance to have. If you don't have an FC who can make your PvP guys have fun, you're not going to keep your PvP guys, and soon after, you're not going to have an alliance.
Pretty
So
much. Pretty much.
the FC, having a good FC in your alliance is absolutely vital to the success of your alliance. It's just as important as having somebody who knows industry. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to build anything, or you're going to be, wasting your time a lot. So, you want the experts and to keep the people who want to do that type of content busy. You got people who want to do indie, you need somebody to give them direction, teach them, and show them what to do and organize them. You want some people to do PvP, you want to keep them, you got to have somebody to organize them as well, and that's what an FC does. So,
Right, for
yes.
this episode because nowadays it feels like the news segment and also the not only the news but this war, it's kind of like the entirety of the episode, right? Because the devs are not really any slouches. They're adding new content and I commend them for I have a different idea of what a mothership is, but I'm also not mad at them for these new assault carriers. I think that they're really cool and I think that that's an interesting it's an interesting different mechanic that they have dropped into the game. So I think that that's really neat. And for the carrier pilots who are really invested in carrier skills and so on and so forth, I'm sure that that's something that you cannot wait to get your hands on. So thumbs up to the devs for that. But I really think that in the future, let's hope that we can see them revisit some of the really cool ships that exist in the lower tiers. Like, say for example, who wouldn't love to have a Black Ops battleship or a strategic cruiser or a tactical destroyer? All those things exist and they're all really really cool. So I'm hoping that we can kind of get that. If you scroll up in the Sound of Us, the coolest, I think that the meme of the day is what's Simber Firedog posted that earlier when we were playing the Carol of the Bells. If you remember that little spoof episode of Family Guy with Peter singing "Dean Fries are done," so that's really awesome. Scroll up and check that out in the Sound of Us. So, to all of you guys who tune in, who support this show, and no matter what side of the war you are fighting on, whether it is SHH, whether it is Chunk, or whether you are doing this as part of as SHH Chunk, or you're part of the Crap Coalition, we want to tell you guys we appreciate you because like literally the content is to die for. It's so much
Yeah.
fun and what can I say? It's just it's the content that I really could only hope for to retire on. A huge server war.
Now, Mackenzie, I
Hmm.
just noticed something I don't think that we noticed before.
What did we not
Uh,
notice?
Next Sunday is Christmas Day.
Is it?
So,
Oh dear.
it is. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. So I mean,
So,
we're gonna do New Eden FM anyways because it's Christmas Day
all
anyways, and we're
right.
still gonna do it,
So,
right?
so, so, right. So we got to have a special Christmas
We
episode
gotta do it.
of New Eden FM.
Hmm.
So, so somewhere in New Eden there will be a tree, and there will be a gift under that tree. And if you can find the tree, the gift will be yours.
Oh, here we go. Now that's what I like to hear. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. Are we talking more? That sounds almost like a Easter scavenger hunt type thing. I don't know. I
Well,
mean,
the thing about it is in order for you to get the gift and find the tree, you actually have to log into the game and get into the New Eden FN fleet and come to where we will be on site, because that will be where the tree is.
dude, you know what? I actually somehow I get the feeling that what we need to do is just like make it a battle royal, almost a capture the flag type thing. Last remaining ship that's there gets the rights. Like capture the flag in like traditional games where you just you capture the flag, you get killed, you drop the flag, you get killed, you drop the gift.
There you go. There you go.
Oh my gosh, it could be something really, really cool. I don't know. We need to work out the details of how we would do something like that over the course of this next week. Um,
Oh yes, but we will look for announcements during the week on some details. So we will let you know when and where to be.
100. And again, support our content creators that are doing other shows. Again, Ashiv is constantly updating or uploading videos, I should say. Very, very, very diligent on it. Everyone loves Benzi. We know him and we appreciate him. And of course, Rambo has the podcast. It is late US time. I think it's around like 9 Central, give or take, somewhere like that. Alondria? Just correct me to
Something
make
like that.
yeah, I normally don't even look at the clock. If I'm not doing anything, I try to head over there and okay, cool. So it's 7:30 Central now, and sending you and Taylor Rick love, sending my Rick arts. I know that he's really busy
Yeah.
leading fleets and stuff like that right now. But thank you guys for tuning in for this episode of New Eden FM. I'm going to be getting, I've been busy. I actually have to finish a college essay. And then after that, I'm pretty much done with this semester. And once I'm done with that, I can catch up on all the tapes. I don't think last week's episode has been posted. I will get that posted for you guys, so you can check that out. And again, I'll try to reach out to some of the cool people in SHH, see if we can do a later episode similar to Rambo, and maybe they'll be able to come in, give us some perspective on how things are going for them with this war. Love, hugs, and kisses. Alondria, if you'd be so kind.
Say, secret Boop CEO, I am contractually obligated to Boop and Local.
There you go.
So Boop and Local, everyone.
Yep, and if you cannot tune in for next week's episode, Merry Christmas to you, and we love you. And I believe that we wanted to do the symphonic heavy metal version of Carol of the Bells. I think Amy found it. Turn it up, check it out. We'll see you next week.